I believe this was in your last either Herbaria. I actually took it from your Instagram page. So you wrote, because we are corporal extensions of the same self-regulating whole we share in common with other life forms, the deeper that we engage in the natural world, the more we notice about it, the more familiar and intimate we become with it, the more clear we will be about our true selves, desires. Here, let me enlarge this. Okay. Challenges, gifts, choices, and purpose. And the better oriented we will be when it comes to being aware of presence and place, our destinations / goals, and the best direction to go to get there. And then you go on to say, for this, we must not look to our studies or video screens, but to the actual physical, natural world, simultaneously revealing to us both its true complex self and ourselves. Look to the mountains and valleys, the vagaries of weather and reality of cycles, to the example of gently singing rivers that over time can carve their way through the rock, to a bear's solitary winter hibernation, demonstrating the importance of taking time to go within ourselves, to rest and reconsider, to the hummingbirds and their example of shaking out their torpor and awakening to the challenges and delights of life. And we might also look to the herbs and other plant forms for a modeling of growth and blooming. So I kind of was bringing this up earlier, and I guess my question is kind of simply around, do you have any advice or recommendations on getting the nature that we need to thrive and feel healthy, and then balancing that out with like this constant work and business and computer screens? I guess I'm just looking for some encouragement to get out there, and maybe it comes down to now. Maybe I just need to get the hell out into nature and just spend more time out there and just stop making excuses. But I'm just curious about your thoughts on that writing. It's, again, beautiful, but then just your thoughts on just getting out there and healing ourselves.
Well, the natural world is the greatest gift to us possible. It's the context, it's what we grew from, elements of ourselves we can see within the natural world. It's constantly giving us lessons on how to do various things, how to be more ourselves. Everything out there in the natural world is doing that. And it's so easy to get sucked into the civilized mindset. I mean, it's as much about getting sucked into your mind as it is to being sucked into having a lot of things to do, or living in a city, or having to be like I do on a computer so much of the time. It's, we're always in competition with that thing, and we've got to make time for the other. What it is we have to integrate the other. We need to be, while we're looking at the computer, wild animals that are acting out of our wild selves, that are acting on our wild dreams and our lust and our wonder and our curiosity and our sharing. We need to surround ourselves with reflections of that. If it's just houseplants, it's a reflection of that. If it's a tiny little windowsill garden of herbs, it's a way to reconnect with that. We cannot make it constantly a competition, or we will resent one or the other. What's necessary is we rewild ourselves in every moment of the day, and then no matter what we do, we're acting out of that wild place, out of a natural place of who we are naturally. When we talk about getting out of our houses, we also mean out of our minds. And whether it's through wildcrafting, finding some edible plants in your local park, just what you're growing in the yard, walking down the street, being able to connect with and identify the trees that are there, listening to the wind that passes through them, instead of just listening endlessly to our own thoughts, no matter how clever we think they are. Everything can be a portal to greater awareness and greater realization. And we can do that strictly indoors, and we'd be cheating ourselves. At some point, we have to bring outdoors in, and then we have to go one more step. We have to take ourselves outside the norms, outside our thoughts, outside our schedule, outside of what we're supposed to be doing today. And that's where everything happens, outside, out in nature. And it doesn't require wilderness. It requires just that we step out, be ourselves, in connection and interaction, in relationship, with our mind quieted. Words can come out later, songs can come out later. But for the moment, we're just participants in what it means to be fully 100% real and alive. To not give yourself that daily is to cheat and to impoverish yourself. I have never met an herbalist whose information I fully respect, who's working primarily just out of books. You know,
Right.
Their realizations come from mixing things and seeing how they work, but they also come from walking around crawling around on their knees to behold a plant closer, no matter how crazy people think they are when they walk by them. And that's not just where the intimacy happens. That's where we learn. That's how we become great herbalists, is to be a part of that, not just to be informationally in the know, not just reading the latest research, as helpful as that is, but to be part of nature. If you're going to be a natural healer, keep the nature in the healing.
When I first got into the herbal world, if you will, a lot of times I'd hear herbalists say some of their first mentors are the plants themselves. And I used to not really understand what that meant, but now having spent enough time with plants, I totally get it. So
Should be.
What's that?
As it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And then, let's give our herbal teachers props after that. But for now, the plants are the OG herbal teachers.